All right. Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. I have 10:01. How's everyone doing this morning?
Okay.
Good. All right. So my name is Jessica Nettles, and I'm the community liaison here at the VNA. And I would like to welcome you all to our 5th installment of our hospice webinar series. So today's topic is grief at the holidays, brought to you by our very own bereavement team here at the VNA. The purpose of these hospice webinars is to help our community get a better understanding of the hospice program that we have here at the VNA and some of the many other services that we provide. We hope that this webinar will help you through the holidays as you continue to cope the loss of a loved one or a friend. Please keep in mind that this webinar will be recorded and posted to our VNA YouTube channel for those that weren't able to join us this morning. If you wish to not have your face viewed, please turn your video off. At the end of today's presentation, we're going to have a Q&A session and answer some of the questions that we received from some of our participants today. We will also be answering any questions that we receive in the chat box as well. So next, we're going to hear from Mary Beth Intricasso. So Mary Beth is going to introduce members of the bereavement team and then start us off with today's presentation. So Mary Beth, if you want to take it away.
I will. Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Mary Beth Intricasso. I'm a hospice bereavement counselor. I and my teammates, Melissa King, Karen Mattern, and Dominique Pianelli, welcome you. In this webinar, we'll offer research-based suggestions for getting through the holidays after a loss. Throughout our presentation, you may notice some repetition on our part. This is intended to reinforce some important ideas. I'd like to begin with a quote from author and grief expert, David Kessler. I'm going to wait for you to catch up. From the moment life changed, grief put you on an unwanted road. As companions on your grief journey, we're here today to talk about a part of that unwanted road, the winter holidays. Our hope is that you'll find some of what we offer as helpful in creating your own plan for making it through the holiday season. First, accept everything is going to be different and give yourself permission to prepare for the holidays with your comfort in mind. Accept your limitations and be gentle with yourself. Give yourself permission to change some traditions like decorating, menus, gift giving, even sending cards. Whatever you choose to do or not to do is the right choice. Next, avoid additional stress. As a griever, you're probably physically and emotionally fatigued. Be mindful of your self-talk and avoid self-directives like, I should go shopping for gifts or make cookies or bake like I've always done before. This just puts more pressure on the grieving person. We encourage you to practice self-compassion and honor your grief. Also, other people may offer well-intended opinions or suggestions or advice. For instance, you ought to come to the theater with us, or you have to come to lunch. It'll be good for you. Listen to your heart and allow yourself to make decisions that feel right for you. Third, Approach the holidays realistically. As much as we would like to recreate past celebrations, it can't be done. But stories and memories can be shared. Talking, laughing, crying about your loved one with your safe people promotes healing. Remind yourself that grief is unique to the person that has it, and grieving is a process that takes time. You will grieve on your own schedule. There's no right way, there's no wrong way, there's only your way. Try to approach one day at a time and try not to look too far down the road. Allow time for yourself every day. This might be taking a walk, playing with a pet, reading supportive literature, praying. Make a choice that fits your daily routine. Acknowledge and express your feelings through conversation, art, journaling. Develop your personal plan for the holidays and then communicate your plan to your family members. Try to cultivate hope and be open to the simple joys of the season. Thank you for your time. And now we're going to hear from Karen Mattern, my colleague.
Thank you so much, Mary Beth. I'd like to share just a few practical tips for navigating the holidays. Again, as Jessica and Mary Beth have mentioned, our intention here is to help support you through what has traditionally been a time filled with positive memories and now may be difficult to manage. So I'd like to share a few practical tips that may help you get through the holidays. So thank you, Melissa. She is running our presentation here. So the first is planning ahead. The holidays are difficult when you don't have the validating presence of your loved one. They knew you best, loved you the most, and gave you a sense of security. When you approach the holidays, it's important to take stock of what you're feeling inside and monitor your personal needs. Planning can help you. If you accept an invitation to dinner or a holiday party, make sure to drive yourself if possible. That way, if you become overwhelmed and need to leave early, you don't feel bad for impacting someone else's schedule. Sometimes the sounds, sights, and smells of the holiday can trigger memories of your loved one. And planning can help set your intentions for the day or the week ahead. Secondly, accept your limitations. We live in a culture that demands performance. However, when you experience a significant loss, performance is greatly affected. The expectations you have of yourself and from others impacts your sense of confidence, competence, and ultimately your self-worth. This is a time when you are fragile. Protect yourself by being kind to yourself and allowing time to mourn. This can be paradoxical as you feel very alone, yet you must grieve alone. It's okay to carve out time for yourself to sit, cry, rest, and reflect. One of the grief experts that my colleagues and I typically refer to, Dr. Alan Wolfelt, he says, spend time thinking about the meaning and purpose of your life. The death of someone loved creates opportunities for taking inventory of your life, past, present, and future. The combination of a holiday and loss naturally results in looking inward and assessing your individual situation. Make sure the best use of this time to define the positive things in life that surrounds you. Always enjoy Dr. Wolfelt's words. Next, limit commitments. The loss of a loved one is the most stressful life event we endure as human beings. This stress brings exhaustion. You will be tasked with many practical matters. At the holidays, try to reduce stress by adapting your expectations. Strive for balance by not expecting yourself to prepare the main holiday meal, sending Christmas cards or emails, or even buying gifts for others, as Mary Beth suggested. This is a time to allow others, to care for you. That leads me to asking for help and accepting help. Family members and friends will be asking how they can help. Many times they may become directive and may hurt your feelings in the process. This is because they may not fully understand the depths of your pain and the impact upon you internally. If you can, try to consider ways others can help you by running errands for you, maybe helping with finances, or having them prepare a traditional meal or dish, or just spend time with you listening and sharing memories. This leads me to the next one, Melissa, for informing others of your needs. This may be hard in the first weeks and months following a loss. You feel numb, confused, and disoriented. This is normal. You may not know what you need, and it's okay to communicate that. Those closest to you, like adult children or longtime friends, may know simple, practical ways to help. Be generous to yourself and do not expect too much of yourself in the early months after a death. You are still adapting to the changing circumstances of new roles and new routines. Building in flexibility. Your needs change over time. As we distance ourselves from the date of our loss, you will observe minor shifts in your energy levels, thought processes, and abilities to accomplish certain tasks. The hope is that time softens the impact of your loss. There will be an ebb and flow of emotion and energy triggered by unexpected moments, like we call trigger points or grief bursts, which come in the form of a song, a smell. It can be pictures or a favorite item of your loved one that you may see in a store. Mourning is a time of great flexibility. It is important to allow yourself to move with a changing tempo of adjusting to your life without your loved one. And finally, give yourself permission to be. What does this mean? Loss wounds us. This is a time of healing, and healing looks different for every person based on your relationship, your dependence upon your loved one, your support network, and your personal abilities. Supportive family members and friends who are willing to sit with you, not be directive or want to fix your grief with overwhelming suggestions. This is a time to reflect and adapt to a life that is forever changed. Comforting others, a faith relationship, and self-care are helpful to fostering a time of healing. Thank you so very much, and we look forward to questions at the end.
Next, I'm going to talk about ways of supporting children at the holidays. Oftentimes, children are the center of the holidays as part of the family unit, and we would be remiss if we didn't discuss ways of acknowledging their grief or incorporating them into the holidays and maybe perhaps starting new traditions. Openly discuss and share your emotions with your children or the children involved in the family unit. Oftentimes, I think we see kids as resilient because they may not be outwardly expressing their emotions, but they're feeling them inside just as you are. So don't try to minimize or avoid in discussing your feelings about the holidays and your loved one not being here. Include them in those discussions about emotions, allow them time to discuss their emotions. And again, just let them and you yourself express those emotions together. Include the kids in making holiday plans together. Offer that opportunity for them to talk about maybe what they're comfortable in doing or not doing. Allow, again, for that open discussion and including them in that planning. Share treasured holiday memories together. offer that space of time to sit down and talk about things or memories that occurred in the past during the holidays that the loved one was a part of, and incorporate that into that present holiday as a way of reminiscing, which is a great way of processing our own grief, especially at the holidays. It could be sitting down with them and allowing that to take place, maybe looking over photo albums of holidays in the past, but just creating that space for them to share their memories of holidays that occurred with the loved one. Don't be afraid to create new traditions or to honor those that in the past. Do whatever feels comfortable. It's okay to create new traditions. Maybe a new tradition could be making an ornament honoring the loved one with your child. Sometimes we'll create ones with kids in our visits with them with a glass ball or a plastic clear ball with ribbons that maybe attached to emotions that they're experiencing at the holidays, sequins that can represent memories of holidays in the past. And then we offer the opportunity to leave, excuse me, to write a message or something that they want to say to that loved one and placing it inside of that ball, that ornament, and that they can put on the tree for Christmas time, or they could keep in their room or in the house as year round, as a reminder of those connections with the loved ones. I've had people create the favorite meal with the loved one with the child, or leave out like a dish of candy that was the favorite of the loved one, having those little nods to the loved one not being there, but still incorporating them and the children in that processing and that planning for the holidays. And that kind of leads me into the next one of create opportunities to acknowledge your loved one. Allow the child to remain connected to them during this time and ongoing. Holidays are a time for family. Holidays are a time for us to come together and be connected. Even though our loved one isn't here physically with us, they're here they're here in our hearts, they're here in our memories, and they'll always be a part of our holidays moving forward. Next, Dominique is going to discuss ways to memorialize loved ones during the holidays.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Okay, so I've compiled a list of different ideas, and they're simple things or crafty things, but the first one is a living memorial or memorial garden. And you can see that picture up on the left-hand corner. That's something that's available for purchase on Etsy that you can have personalized. It's a bench with 2 planters there, or it can be something as simple as going to the dollar store or another garden store and just buying some ornaments to put in your garden, planting a tree or their favorite flower, and that every time you can walk by and think of your loved one. The picture collage or scrapbook is pretty self-explanatory. You can go to any craft store and buy a scrapbook and make it as involved, or just, with stickers and things like that, or just, pictures of your loved one. The memory box or jar, the box you can find online in wood or metal and engraved. You can make your own if you want to, by just going to Tuesday Morning or Michael's and grabbing a box. And the jar is pictured in the lower right-hand corner, which is also very simple. And so you might write special holiday memories on pieces of paper. You can include pictures or just about anything that reminds you of your special person. It can be left out all year, or you can pack it away with your Christmas decorations and pull it out each year to look over. The memorial website, if the person had a Facebook page, you can turn their Facebook page into an in memory of page. You would contact Facebook to do that. And there's also websites such as forevermiss.com where you can write whatever you would like about your loved one, post pictures, and then share the link for friends and family members to go on and share their memories as well. The next one is rituals. So you can make a memorial table in your house, or gather as a family to light the paper lanterns that float up into the sky, or they float in the water. You can participate in something that the person who passed away enjoyed around the holidays that pays tribute to their life in a lighthearted manner. Give their hobby a try, cheer on their most loved sports team, or simply watch their favorite movie. Um, Preserving keepsakes is just, maybe there's a special ornament or holiday decoration that they enjoyed or you received as a gift from them or as a gift together, and you might want to put that front and center on the tree this year, or right by the door. We have the next one, which is naming a star after the person, and you can simply Google on star naming and it'll come up with a bunch of different options. And in the left-hand corner, you would receive like a registration certificate with the information about your star. Making a special holiday ornament. Melissa touched on that beautifully. You can find those clear ornaments at the craft store, or you can paint something we have the Painted Frog in downtown, another ceramic or glass studio. And if you aren't crafty or you just don't have it in you to do that, you can of course find memorial ornaments online in Hallmark, or I've even found them in CVS, or you can create your own at a website like Personalization Mall, or if you have a Things Remembered close by in your mall. Then create a memorial wreath. Sorry, the wreath right in the lower right hand corner. That one has a beautiful angel on it. Again, that's totally up to your creativity and what you would like to put on there. Maybe use their favorite color or anything like that. And so the next would be making their favorite holiday dish. And Melissa also talked about that as well. So maybe they had a recipe that they cooked for everybody, or something that they specifically enjoyed. And so I truly believe that our stomachs are connected to our hearts, and that the tastes and smells are very reminiscent of special holiday memories that you've shared with your loved ones. Visiting a sentimental place. So a special place can be as easy as taking a walk on the beach in town, or driving around to see Christmas lights in your neighborhood, or eating at a restaurant that might have significance to you and your family. Or maybe you vacation somewhere every year with that person and you would like to carry that tradition on, or visit the church that you were married at. And there's just so many possibilities that you could do, simple and as big as taking a vacation. And it's really whatever brings you peace. Supporting a cause that is important to them. If being charitable or generous makes you feel good, then that would be a wonderful option to make a gift donation in their honor. And then lighting a candle. Obviously self-explanatory, but you could light the candle in the morning, or when you get home from work, whatever you would like. And there's also candles you can find online that you can personalize, or something like their favorite color. So that's very flexible as well. And so I just want to close out by saying that missing someone we care about can easily take away from what would otherwise be a joyous time of year, and especially when the loss is recent. So finding meaningful ways to commemorate a loved one eases our pain and enables us to once again experience moments of happiness. Even though the hallmarks of the season will not be the same, uniting with others to celebrate a life just may lead to new traditions that everyone looks forward to for years to come. So we are going to be each talking about having a moment of silence, really, and reflection. And we'll be reading a poem called The Four Candles.
Dominique, that was beautiful. Thank you. So here we are This is the ritual of the 4 candles. The first candle represents our grief. The pain of losing you is intense. It reminds us of the depth of our love for you.
The second candle represents our courage to confront our sorrow, to comfort each other, to change ourselves. Our lives, I apologize, to change our lives.
This third candle we light in your memory for the times we laughed, the times we cried, the times we were angry with each other, the silly things you did, the caring and the joy you gave us.
This fourth candle we light for our love. We light this candle that your light will always shine. As we think of you each day and share your memory with our family and friends, we cherish the special place in our hearts that will always be reserved for you. We thank you for the gifts your living brought to each of us. We love you. We remember you.
I would like to thank the VNA bereavement team for this helpful presentation on coping with grief during the holiday season. It's a wonderful presentation, ladies. So now we're going to move on to our Q&A session. Ladies, we received some questions from our participants when they signed up for the webinar. So let's answer some of those questions, starting with Melissa. Can you speak on if we're going to be starting in-person support groups again?
So our support groups remain virtual, as this has allowed us to offer support to our hospice families that live outside of our county. We've had group members that live out of state or out in a different part of Florida that have been able to attend our support groups. So virtual has allowed us to offer more to everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Melissa. Is there a way to make coming home to no spouse easier?
So I think the question about coming home and the one that a participant had given about feelings of loneliness are very similar in nature. And it's not uncommon that as you are confronting this new experience in the home environment without your loved one, to feel especially lonely, to feel very alone. And it is very difficult to come home from, whether it's the grocery store or maybe a typical outing with friends or family, and you still come home to that empty house. My colleagues and I always talk about being able to continue the relationship with your loved one and talking to them, sharing where you have been, who you talk to. It's not uncommon to be able to do that because the death brings about the physical absence of them, but the relationship continues. And so part of this very difficult transition is to have a relationship ongoing in conversation, in spirit, if you will, with your loved one. And if you can find ways to cultivate that relationship that feels comfortable to you, it's almost like in a prayerful way that you're talking to them, you're still talking to them. Maybe you're talking to their picture. Perhaps you're talking to the chair that they sat in. It still highlights that they're not physically there, but they are in a very spiritual way still present with you. And it's okay to talk to them in that manner. It doesn't provide the solace of being able to reach out and hold their hand, but it's still okay to be able to continue that conversation with them. And yes, it's not as satisfying as being able to hear their voice, But I always say to our clients that, you know their voice, you know their thought process and the things that they may say, and in answering you, if just turning to share a comment about something you see on TV or a person you saw at the store. So it's about adapting to that ongoing conversation with your loved one in the best way that you can, in that, and I have to say, just in that spiritual way. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you, Karen. Dominique, can you touch on how to fend off questions like, why don't you celebrate the holidays?
Sure. So it's important to remember when someone asks you a personal question that you only have to share what you are comfortable with. And you can make the answer as simple as, I don't celebrate for personal reasons. If you would like to share more, then it's completely up to you, depending on who that person is asking you the questions. When that happens, I also think it's important to remember that feeling stressed, feeling down, feeling overwhelmed, or feeling exhausted are all normal relative feelings during the winter holidays. But when these feelings are mixed with grief, it's kind of magnified. And it's also important to remember that if you are feeling overwhelmed by these feelings, or they're keeping you from functioning in your normal manner, to please reach out to your bereavement counselor or another trusted therapist, doctor, family member, or friend.
Thank you, Dominique. Let's see here. Melissa, can you let us know if individuals can receive services by mail?
Sure, absolutely. We have a plethora of grief information that we are always able to mail out to anybody within the community or on hospice services. All they would have to do is just give us a call at the bereavement department, which our contact information is on the next slide, and I'd be happy to mail that information out to you.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. So our last question came from one of your VNA peers. So how do bereavement counselors practice self-care at the holidays?
I'll take that question. I do a lot of I just do speaking personally, I do whatever feels comfortable. I try not it's hard to not put pressures on yourself, but I try not to put pressures on myself, doing whatever I feel like my capabilities are like I'm able to do at this point in time. I do a lot of things, self-care. It's probably a social worky term, but self-care is important. A way of supporting yourself. I have started drawing. I sometimes bake if the mood catches me. I do a lot of activities with my daughter. So like knowing what recharges your batteries is super important during the holidays, whether you're a bereavement counselor or not. It's just whatever you need to help move yourself forward.
Thank you, Melissa. I totally agree. Self-care is really important.
May I add something to that, please?
Sure, go right ahead, Mary Beth.
This goes back to something that Karen had mentioned in her segment, but it's okay for us to be human beings, not human doings. It's all right to sit. I know myself, sometimes I think, oh my gosh, there's so much to do this time of year or whenever it is. As a working woman, I think, I have to really manage my time. No, I don't. Well, I do. But part of that managing your time is taking time for yourself. We don't find time. We must make the time for ourselves. So as counselors, this is heavy work that we do. It is imperative that we make the time for ourselves to just be, to read, to walk, to exercise a little bit, to watch an old movie. So whoever submitted that question. Thank you.
I would like to add that it helps me to lean on my faith during this time and to remember the reason for these holidays, and have a quiet time near the Christmas tree, maybe at night when nobody's awake or early in the morning, and maybe say a prayer or just be grateful for everything that I have. It also helps to see the joy in my daughter's eyes during this time, because when you can see through a child's eyes, it really brightens your soul. And so just to take a deep breath, take a step back, and be grateful and thank God. And that's what I do.
Thank you, Dominique.
That's
So-
excellent. And if I may add also, just being out in nature, which is very grounding, whether you go for a walk or just sharing some quiet time, listening to the birds or the sound of water, can be very relaxing, not just for us as bereavement counselors, but for our bereaved. It's just a very calming experience. So that can be very helpful as well, in addition to all those things my colleagues have shared.
Thank you, Karen. So Sue, our VNA Marketing and Communications Manager, has been managing our chat box. Sue, did we receive any questions from our participants today?
No, we haven't. But
Okay. All righty. Does anyone have any additional questions for the bereavement team? If you do, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Okay, I'll give it another second.
Jessica, may I add something to the question that
Sure.
Karen answered?
Sure, go right ahead, Mary Beth.
Thank you. About coming home to being lonely, it's especially in early grief. This must be very difficult. There is a saying that time heals all wounds. That's not, well, we could challenge that. What time gives us is time to get used to the way that things are. So every time that somebody comes in to an empty house, and you almost wish maybe he or she's in the chair, in the recliner, it's not true, but you still hope. It is uncomfortable, it's painful, but with every painful experience that you face and meet, it gives you skill and experience for the next time that it happens. So it doesn't take the pain away. Time doesn't heal it. We adapt to the way that things are now. And how we do that is by encountering unpleasant, uncomfortable, painful situations and navigating them. So I hope that that's useful to somebody.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
You're welcome.
All right, Melissa, next slide, please. Okay, so if you would like to reach out to the bereavement team directly, their phone number is here, listed on this slide, 772-567-5551, extension 5171. So I'd like to thank you all again for joining us. If you want to learn more about the VNA, please like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and you can also sign up to receive our monthly e-newsletter on our website. And again, this webinar has been recorded and it'll be available on our VNA YouTube channel in the next few days or so. So if you would like to watch this presentation again or share it with a friend, you're more than welcome to. And if you have any additional questions that come to mind in regards to this presentation or hospice, please feel free to reach out to me directly. My email address is jnettles, that's JNETTLES, @vnatc.com. And if we don't have any additional questions, have a great day, everyone, and happy holidays from your friends here at the VNA. Bye.